Tell me this is gonna work. Tell me this is. Hey, okay, it worked. Well, okay. I wasn't sure this was gonna work. Okay. So are we comfies? We're comfies, right? Cool, 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 cool. Let oh that part.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Live with the Buttons Babes. I'm Alyssa Vasquez.
And I'm Alyssa Brayboy. We're your buttons babes. Alyssa just said that. Bear with me, y'all.
Thanks for tuning in on this Sunday Fun Day.
Yes, give me a second because clearly I'm just gonna put this down. I'm gonna put it away. I guess we'll be able to see the Hey PJ. Okay. We're gonna be able to see the comments there and do the thing and adjust. So, if you are joining us for the first time, we're going to jump in with a push to start where we dive into something that pushed our buttons this week, whether it's good, bad, ugly, or indifferent. And Mama, do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
Go first.
Okay.
Go first.
So, y'all, your girl is in therapy. And I started therapy on Friday, which was really interesting, really great session. But like right before, I found myself pacing around the house like this. I was like, and I've been to therapy before, right? Yo, as you can see, it clearly makes me anxious and uncomfortable to talk about, because I had to stop and I was like, yo, Lissa, what the fuck? What is wrong with me? I am aware that I'm probably going to dive into some things and open up to a stranger, but I had never felt this level of anxiety, when dealing with self-help or any type of, I'm usually really good about it, but for some reason I just was super anxious, didn't want to do it. I was starting to sweat and I'm like, yo, is this a thing? Is therapy anxiety a thing? And it just, and it's yeah, occasionally, I know I'm going to get into some feels, with my therapist and I don't want to, or I'm on my way to work and I really don't feel like being a hot mess for the rest of the day. And I was all types of discombobulated until I sat down, got onto the Zoom, met my therapist, and it was, yes, a roller coaster of emotions, but it was, for me, it was really comical and really uncomfortable, just pacing around the house, not I'm in the fridge, I'm over here, I was a little bit of a mess. And needless to say, the session was incredible. I'm super proud of me, really looking forward to continuing working with this therapist. We're going to try some brain spotting, y'all. And I do and I don't know what that entails. I've never experienced it before, so that's what I mean. I don't know, but it has to do with reprogramming parts of my brain, the different pathways that I have created based on the traumas that have happened in my life. And your girl has some patterns that she's trying to break. So that was my push to start this week, because it just was a new experience that I haven't felt before, and I'm navigating through it.
It was
the look for me.
I had a smaller push to start this week. I finished a book that I think I started a year or two ago, and a mountain of a project that was just super tedious. And I was like, great. So glad those things are off my plate now, and I can open room for new things, I guess.
Okay.
Ending things was my push to start this week.
Ending things about that. My push to start kind of segues into what we're going to dive in today as our
button of the week. So every week we talk about, if you're new, something that pushed our button, or something that's a little uncomfortable in a greater sense that we can relate from our world to IRL.
Yes. And so as you can see, it's a little bit more intimate today. We are inside. We're like Buttons Babes couch. Like I wasn't trying to fuck around with outside and the sound.
Too many airplanes.
And
Too many airplanes.
And in the heat. I was like, okay. So with starting therapy, I personally have a really hard time being angry, like allowing myself to be angry because I've always seen anger as such like an ugly emotion.
I mean, I think everyone anger is like the thing that we're not told like to feel. Like,
yeah,
you know, oh, you're angry. Okay, we'll keep going.
Yeah, like or like don't get angry, don't be mad, don't feel this, don't feel that. I'm like, okay, so I have suppressed a lot of anger over the years, and even in I noticed even in my, you know, oh hey Matthew, even in my acting, I like a few years ago got to study with Larry Moss, and he introduced me to August Wilson, Seven Guitars. I was playing Vera Dotson, and something that he helped me realize, because I've never wanted to be that angry black woman, or like as a woman and as a woman of color, like we don't get to be angry. Like we carry it all, and we're strong, and we push through. And so um I'm tangent segue. I promise it relates. Obsessed with Peaky Blinders. I did not want to fucking like this show whatsoever. Like low key was because outside of white people shit. Like I'm just, if I can be 111% honest with you guys, I was really tired of seeing the same kind of content on television and supporting the same kind of content. But someone turned me on to Peaky Blinders. They're like, no, Alyssa, the acting's incredible. It's worth it. Please give it a shot. Like there was just this time where I was like, no, if it's not diverse, or it's not, like there isn't some type of like person of color, or like if there isn't something along the lines, then I want no parts. All right. Yes.
Sadly.
Yes. But it's like I caved and I fell into Peaky Blinders.
It's a great fucking show.
It is. When I tell you that the performances are out of this world, the cinematography, the editing, the music,
the costumes, the productions, that like
the writing. And when I was pissed, I was like, God damn it. Fucking Brits, like they're great. They're great. The Brits are great. Fucking love them in terms of creating content. They are so much better. Like Luther, also shout out, because that's Idris Elba. I was like, I will support that all goddamn day. Anyway, I fell down the rabbit hole of Peaky Blinders. Fucking incredible. So June 10th, they came back to Netflix.
May.
June. We are in June.
So 2 days ago. 2 days ago.
It was out in the UK, but it didn't come to
That's what I was like. It was originally out in the UK. Okay, it came here first on the 10th.
That part.
I was like, it's been out for a while.
You're like, you liar. I was like, no, like so I was like, look, it's girls' night. Let's like we're pulling out the wine, we're getting whatever you want to eat. I'm watching it. We watched the first 2 episodes, awesome, great. Like I'm so pumped. We sat down to watch
another episode 3 yesterday.
Episode 3 yesterday. And when I tell you that shit took me out, something, I'm no spoiler alerts, I promise. Something happens that is out of Thomas's control. And you can just see everything like start to crumble. And as I'm sitting and I'm watching and I'm slow crying, like this little voice peeks in the back of my head, because I'm like, oh, this is so fucking great. The performances are incredible. This is greatness. This is people like sitting in the pocket of their purpose. And I had goosebumps, and this voice is like, you're that great, right? You know that like you are powerful, you are capable. This is in you. And I was like, okay, yeah, about that. Yes, I'm great. I'm powerful. You are absolutely right. Like I am capable of what it is. Like they're fucking people. We are capable of that as well. And so I was like, okay. And then I slowly started to get angry. I was like, what is this? What is happening? Because then another voice slowly crept up in the back of my ear. It was like, oh, well, if you're so great and you're so powerful, why do you keep letting people do terrible things to you? Like, you're actually like, you're weak and you're small and you're this. And I sat there and I was like, what the fuck is happening to me right now? I feel fucking cuckoo, like watching Peaky Blinders, like all of this inner, like these things are starting to twist and therapy is coming, like rising to the surface. I'm like, what the fuck?
It sounds like an episode of Big Mouth. What's happening to you?
I was shook.
The anxiety mosquitoes, the shame monster somewhere, the fucking the gremlin of success.
Yes.
Like
Facts to that. I was having an existential crisis, like human resources, like all of that was going on. Because a part of like what was going on in therapy at one point, my therapist was like, Alyssa, how does it feel sitting in how great and powerful you are and what makes you wonderful? And like explaining all of that, I was like, oh, it's fucking incredible, but I'm terrified. It makes me mad. It makes me angry because I have allowed certain things to happen to me and I haven't done anything. Like I have allowed motherfuckers to get away with shit. I have, and you never, when you are sexually assaulted or verbally and emotionally abused, any type of trauma or abuse, you never, like, personally, I don't
think most people are like asking for it, right? Like right. They're not like, please do this to me, please, like.
Right. And there's this level of not like, of almost like being embarrassed about it and not wanting to say it out loud. Or like, oh, that's not me. I'm not a victim. I'm not a victim. I'm not like, no, because I am these things. I am strong. I'm powerful. I'm all of these things. That can't happen to me. I won't let it happen to me, but it does. And so like that piece of like, we talked about a couple weeks back, like victimization being in the eye of the beholder in terms of like, like ignorance is bliss. You don't want to be a fucking victim.
No.
And until you know you are and you accept it,
then you're not.
Right. Then I'm not. Everything's fine. I'm fine over here. Like, and so
acceptance, admitting is the first step, and it's the worst fucking step.
So like all of this is like it's like right here. I'm like no. And
you're trying to like swallow it back down.
I'm sweating and I'm mad and I'm angry because it went from watching a show that is so inspiring that we absolutely love, and watching in this moment, like it peaked from watching how powerful Thomas is, but in this moment, how powerless he was. I was like, I can relate. Too soon. I don't want to be here right now. And I'm like, okay, breathe. Got up. I was like, can I eat something? Can I eat my feelings? Like, what can I do with this? Started pacing. I was like, okay, because this, y'all, in therapy, also like bringing up all of like past traumas and stuff. And so I'm replaying in my brain. I'm like, some of what I said in terms of like, I've allowed people to do these things to me. Like, I'm aware that is a trauma response that I'm going to go back, heal, fix, all of those things. And the fact that I felt like I've done nothing about it didn't make me angry at them. It made me angry at myself. And so like both, actually, like, let me back it up. It made me angry at both parties. Like, I'm mad at myself because I am aware of how powerful I am, how like great I am, but yet I allowed like XYZ to happen and make me feel powerless and put me in a box or treat me a certain way. Why? I don't know. And we're going to explore that. But in the thought that I've done nothing, I had to sit with this anger and like allow myself to feel it. And I actually like sat on the floor and like both feet on the floor, like, yes, I'm like
the comfort position.
Dead ass. I was like, oh, fuck this. I'm not okay. I'm like, actually, you are okay. I need you to breathe. Anger is okay. What are you going to do with this anger, Alyssa? Um, all right, let's revisit. You said you've allowed this to happen and you've done nothing. Like, because that's what made me so angry, because so many of these motherfuckers have gotten away with this shit in terms of like, and it's
Like you in your personal life in general, or like both,
both,
or
like
all of the above, I guess.
well, for me, because I can only speak for me,
right.
in my personal life, absolutely. Um, and some of it is so gray, which is so confusing. Like, I have my past ex who is verbally and emotionally abusive, and then like borderline like started doing some stalking shit. Like, and but yet not blasting him all over the place. Not like
Right.
I'm not.
I mean,
I'm
because
why?
yeah,
Why would I give you any more of me? Like, or allow you to like get the satisfaction of getting more time and
somehow,
energy
yeah,
out of
like
me.
you are still taking from me even after, and like
Right.
that taking away that potential satisfaction from me.
Yes.
Yeah.
And still like, getting jobs that were actually hours that people knew about this abuse. And it like so I'm like, so there's a piece of me that was so angry that it doesn't matter. It felt as if like this can happen. People can behave badly and they can get away with it
Yeah.
because no one's going to do anything. Or I chose not to do anything. But I had to sit with the anger and realize, well, Alyssa, that was your choice. Like, you are choosing, and it doesn't make you weak. It doesn't like that actually, to a certain extent, like that's your power. What you decide to do with your power is your own.
Your choice.
Yes. And so I don't necessarily, yes, what comes around goes around to a certain extent, but part of me is like, yo, like yeah, fuck yes. Ugh. A part of me feels more powerful, but like, no, I'm not, because it'll with this individual, it'll just get worse.
Yeah.
It'll get ugly and unnecessary.
Even more so than it already has.
Right.
Yes.
And it's unfortunate because I can only imagine other individuals who are in that same situation where it's like, it'll just get worse. So the same behavior is going to perpetuate. So, like, on a personal level, yeah. And then on a higher, like,
Business,
in general level,
people,
it's like, fuck. We're damned if we do and we're damned if we don't, in terms of like victims and survivors speaking up and saying things.
I mean, yeah, especially with, I mean, I wasn't following for all of the details of the like Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial, but yeah, that did also kind of have an impact on like, well, if you're the more liked person and you have a better
lawyer, PR,
yeah, then I mean, regardless of the abuse involved, like, yes, one person will always be reigning supreme, and it will typically not be the victim.
And it is wild to me because even in a recent sexual assault that I have experienced, like, I also chose, I'm like, no, I don't deal with this. Not deal with it. Like, I will deal with it on my own and like through therapy and all of that, but like escalating it to escalating it any further.
Yeah.
Like, what? I'm like, it's great. That's and
does it feel like there won't be justice? Does it feel like it's
absolutely.
I mean
that
yeah. Does it feel like a waste of time, or does it feel like you are at a point still where like you don't fully want to like accept that he did that and that it happened to you?
Both, because it's layered, and it like when it comes to victimization and when it comes to like figuring out like what do you do with it? What do I do with this anger? What do I do with this pain? Like, there is no right choice. It's your choice. And so it's most definitely because I thought this was someone who cared about me. And even if I did do anything with it, it's so fucking gray. It's like, well, what the fuck were you guys doing? Hanging out? And like, but that's where my brain goes.
And I mean, yeah, that's like, I mean, then you're in the what were you wearing territory.
Yes. And it's like, fuck that.
Yeah,
and there's a level of, okay, are we not screaming loud enough? Like, do I think it's not a big deal? Like, do we like downplay the things that happen to us because it's not as bad? Like, it could be worse.
I mean, everything could always be worse or better, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's always someone smarter than you in the room. Like, there's always someone thankfully dumber than you in the room. Like, to balance like all of that. Hello, sometimes I'm mostly one or the other. Who knows? But like, there's always, in my early therapy days as well, I went through a lot of that. Like, oh, but everyone, like, there's so many people that have it worse than me. Like, Ukraine and women in Afghanistan are losing their right. A lot of things are so much fucking worse than what's happening to us personally. But like, also that doesn't invalidate or make anything any less than, because it's not like a competition of like who's been fucking assaulted the most, worst, awfulest, blah 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 way. It's like it happened. If you get a paper cut, you still got a paper cut,
right? It's still,
if I got a paper cut, I got a paper cut too. I'm not trying to show that my paper me worse than yours.
but I know what that feels like.
I hate paper cuts too. Fuck paper. Like, give me my phone back. But like, it's and I think I'm speaking from a place now of like trying to imagine how you might be feeling, or how I would feel if something happened to me the way that it happened to you. I think my biggest emotional rock that would be on my shoulders is that, like, how did I let this happen in this age point? Like, whatever, with how could I let this happen? But like, I'm not putting out feelers that's like, please, someone say something awful to me today and like make me feel bad. I'm not asking for a bird to shit on my head and like ruin my hair day. Like, I'm not asking for any of those. They could happen to me, and then, okay, well, I've seen how people have treated those things. That like, I see that if someone says something mean to me in passing, I can either say something mean to hurt them back and feel better about myself in that moment, or I can ignore it and try to move on. And depending on how I'm feeling in that moment, like, whatever, if a bird poops me, I can cry about it and then go wash my hair, and it is. But like, if someone assaults you as an adult, where you are at the point that you like think that you have your voice, and then your fight or flight kicks in, and you fight or flight, probably, as I'm stuttering, probably are in freeze, which is not fight or flight actually, and then I don't want to say it out, like, I don't want to say it out loud to someone that I allowed that to happen to me, but I didn't. Like, I didn't let it happen. I just didn't. I wasn't I wasn't asking for it. It happened to me. Just like a bird poops my hair. I didn't ask for it. It happened to me. And now I have to like proceed. But like, no one is right there being like, it's okay. Like, we'll wash that out of your hair.
Right.
Hey, I heard that guy said that to you. Like, that was uncalled for. Are you okay? Like, those are public moments that someone can step in to be like, I saw it,
Right.
But when something intimately assaulting happens, I'm not really sure the like way to address that. It's when you're assaulted and no one sees you, no one can be like, hey, okay, like, let me hold your hand and we'll do this together, because it's you. You have to rely on yourself. Your mask is like, wherever it is. I mean, I don't know, but I know that I would also be like, fuck this. What can I do?
Right? Not even but like, fuck this. Like, what do I do? Like, what do I do? How / why did this happen? Like, so many things like start, because for me in that specific situation, like,
the cats are also
they're on one
right now.
Yes.
Sorry.
If when you know something, like, but yet like you know it intellectually, but emotionally you don't want to go there,
Yes.
and you don't want to say it out of your mouth, like because
That makes everything real.
yes, and it makes it worse in that moment. And until I told you and said it out of my mouth, like the first thing that you did, you were like, "Fuck, mama, I'm so sorry," and I was like, "What?" I was like, "Oh, I see it more clearly now. Great." You know, it didn't get to a certain, it didn't get past, um, it was bad. It could, like, oh, I'm doing it
I feel
again.
like you probably helped. I mean, a learned thing is to like protect yourself as much as possible. And that's how we treat kids. We are like, you know what? You fell down. You got back up. You know what?
Right?
You bit your tongue, but here's some ice. I mean, I don't know if tongue biting is but you know what I mean. That's
Yes.
like with a kid, you're like, don't cry, and you like smile at them because you're like, it's okay,
You're okay.
you know, and that's what you're doing to your
Yeah.
more vulnerable self, which is extremely vulnerable at that moment. Is like you're like, okay, nothing bad happened. We are good. Like,
Right,
you know what I
like,
mean? Like, okay,
proud of
like
you got him out of the house, but that it's still there.
mhm.
And so like having to go back and be like, okay, this didn't happen like it did that time. So like, yes, it's like that duality of like, yes, be proud of yourself, but also like feel this, be angry about it, and like working through it. And so all of that to circle back around to like working through anger has been one of the most challenging emotions because it's always seen as negative. And I mean, and it can be negative, but anger can also be really fucking powerful. And like, as I sat there, like, really fucking pissed off, really angry at myself, really fucking angry at these motherfuckers who aren't fucking listening to me. And like, these are the words that are coming out of my mouth. I'm saying no. Like, and it's interesting, like right before we started, I saw and I saved this caption on Instagram that said, yo sis, he heard you or they heard you, they just didn't give a fuck, they know what they're doing, they know what they're doing. So I know you were angry at yourself, and we will address that, and it's valid, but it is also okay to be angry at them. And again, it's that anger is also hard for me personally because it's like I'm a people pleaser. I'm a yes person. I'm a like, which gets me into some situations that I have no business being in. And it's like, oh, we're unlearning that. We're saying no. It's becoming my favorite fucking word. And like being okay with, oh, there's assholes out there in the world. That is true. It doesn't mean like that has to change. Yeah. It doesn't have to change who you are. You don't need to be jaded. Like you can be angry, feel it, move through it. And like what I feel like coming through all of that I'm still sitting with is like, okay, well, what do we do with the anger? Like, what are we gonna do with it? What are you gonna do with the pain?
Yeah.
What are you gonna turn it into? Because the things, and for me, something that I hold on to, these things can't just have happened because they happen. Yes, like shit happens, but in terms of like they can't be for nothing. Like they can't be for no reason. If something fucking shitty happened to me, like me, in order to heal from it, use it, something, like I gotta do something with it,
Yeah.
whether put it in a story or here we are in a live and sharing it with you guys. I'm fucking putting it out there. This is like that we gonna figure out what to do with it. And so what are some of the ways that like you handle anger?
I also woke up. It affected me differently. I mean, I was really frustrated also with the like parallels in my own life of things that I cannot control, and yeah, I could not articulate it as well as you had in like paralleling it to a situation that applied to me. But yeah, I stopped watching after some of last night. I just went for a really long walk, and I was like, I'm gonna listen to some other people talk about literally anything else that is whatever.
Y'all, we were activated hard. Like shout out Peaky Blinders. Was it Stephen Knight? God damn.
How dare you? How dare you? But yeah, I this morning was not feeling the workout that I had planned. Working out in the past has been an outlet for me, specifically running. Though I think like sometimes group classes when I'm angry are frustrating because like I have a strong body now, but I have had a much stronger body in the past. And so sometimes when I do things that I'm no longer able to do like in a group setting, I'm applying that shame to myself. You know, I'm like, oh, you used to be able to do this. Why can't you do this now? And it's like, well, there's a bunch of fucking reasons, bitch. But like, you know, today in this moment, like I'm not thinking of them. But running is, I love distance running. And through some really angry parts of my life, running was the thing that like was there for me because I can listen to anything. I can listen to nothing. I can like feel and control my breathing and you know, when I'm the most aware, can be aware of it. Like sometimes definitely was just running like a fucking moron because I was like, I'm mad, so I'm gonna run mad. Don't advise that.
Run mad.
I don't advise that. It's really bad for your knees. But like something that for me that I've learned on my journey of therapy is like, yeah, I need some type of token of control based on how I can be successful to like see a lot of like chaos and still like find a path. I do well in chaos, but like that's my like traumatic like success of like I can keep going through anything, you know. I think that's a trait shared by many women. I think specifically also like children of immigrants. Like I think first generation or people whose parents were not as equipped as they could have been. It's like it's a huge category of people.
Like we're gonna figure it out. Like we're just gonna keep going. We're not gonna pause. And it's like, wait, can we assess? Nope, go.
Yeah, that's so like cleaning. Cleaning helps me. Like
y'all. I walked in the door like it was spotless in this bitch. The floors had been mopped. She's in the kitchen. Kumbia music's on. I was like, oh, we both in a bad foul fucking mood. Got it. I'm just gonna stand here for a second. And I'm gonna take this in and we're gonna talk about it. Yeah.
Cleaning, running. Those are like things that like anything that I can do physically, I think is like what calms me down. It's like movement. Doing this. Yeah, movement. Like going for a walk. I mean, yeah, there was a while in quarantine that I think I was racking like 20 to like 30,000 steps a day because I was like, I don't know what to fucking do with this. But and I mean, sometimes talking to people when I've sorted enough things out that like I don't feel like questions are attacking, because sometimes I've noticed I feel like questions feel like an attack when they're literally
they're just trying to get information.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And that's something that I have known, like have been like trying actively to work on in my adult years now is like, okay, questions does not equal like an attack on something. If you don't know how to articulate, then you just have to say like, I don't know how to, articulate. Okay. And those are some things that help me. But I think, yeah, I was never taught how to process anger, how to, don't be angry, don't be mad was like, and I was a mad kid, I guess. Because I feel like I always was like listening to someone tell me, like, don't be mad about that.
You're like, fine.
Okay, fine.
How am I supposed to feel?
Yeah, what can I be mad about? I should have asked that, but I didn't.
That's interesting, because sometimes it is movement for me, but like this specific instance, like I'm a very auditory learner, or like I need sounding boards. Like sometimes I just need people to fucking listen so that I can hear myself talk about these things, so that I can disprove the feeling that like I can feel the feeling, but disprove the illogical emotions or thoughts that are coming up for me. Um, Sometimes it is movement, but like I had to sit still with myself in that moment, and it's fucking like it's hard. It's fucking hard. Because also y'all, yeah, stillness is a bitch. Your girl thought she could. I mean, I knew better. She thought she could start dating, and and I'm realizing that that's not the case. Um, but there is a certain individual that like I have been talking to where I'm like, oh, hey, it I'm probably not helping, but it helped me, and so I kind of feel like a dick. But I'm like, but they are okay with having like these uncomfortable conversations. I have prefaced, I have communicated, I've said all the things. I'm like, yo, this is where I am. And so like it was interesting because in that moment of like being angry, like sitting still with myself and then realizing like I need to soundboard this out and have a conversation. Like another old pattern voice, Alyssa, also whispered in my ear, was like, or you can just invite them to come over and we can cuddle and we can make out and we can have sex and we can do these things and you can feel what you don't want to feel. I was like, bitch, shut up. I know who you are. We are not talking to you right now.
Sit down.
Like, sit down. Please do not do this to us. We are trying to get better. We are in therapy, and your little fast ass out here is just trying to run away from these feelings. And so I was like, oh, yes to that. I literally had to like tell myself, I was like, no, instead, what we're going to do is like, we can have a conversation. We're going to sit here on the floor. We're going to breathe. We can take a shower. We can dance and like laugh and sing music to yourself in the mirror. We can read. Alyssa, there are all these other things that you can do that make you feel good about you that do not require another human being. Because right now, that is not good for you. And I was like, I don't like you. Like, okay, fine. Still had a conversation. Like, so kind of needed the other human being.
Yeah.
And like the conversation was great. It's interesting. We even ran up against like what we were talking about in terms of uh they were trying to like definitely not equal lot like what the fuck is the word that I'm looking for? They were sharing an experience they had that was similar, but they're like, oh, in no way am I trying to compare. I was like, I know that's not what you're doing, but also your feelings, your trauma, what happened to you is valid. And so that like there's so many things happen. I was like, oh, that was nice. Like I'm
Sometimes sharing is good.
yes,
Sometimes
yes.
sharing is good.
And sometimes like having to sit with yourself and be still is important too. And like not running what I'm learning and trying to accept is not running from the anger. That's a valid emotion. And you have to be able to process that in a healthy way. It's different for everybody. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with anger in so much of my life I thought that there was.
I mean, yes.
And through that it was really interesting. And having this conversation, I realized like going back, like what I was angry about, oh, you did nothing and you've allowed blah blah blah. I'm like, pause, bitch. You prosecuted your childhood sexual abuser, did you not?
That's a big deal.
They pled guilty. That's a
big deal.
That's a big deal. That was so courageous. That was courageous. That was so powerful. You did that. So you didn't allow that to happen to you. It happened to you. You did something about it. You tried to do something about a certain um, dean of a business school. That didn't go well, and I left it alone. You tried to do something about um, senior year college, but like I'm in my head, I was like, oh. So as I sat there, I disproved, and I was like, oh, that anger kind of dissipated. Like it's still like there a little bit, but I was like, oh, okay. My emotions are not making that much sense, but they're valid. And so we can logically get our mind and our heart, like and our like all of that to align. Like when you breathe, take a beat, go outside, go for a walk, move, clean some shit, talk to somebody so that they can help, bring reason to some of these emotions that start to spiral you out of control. Like you get grounded, feel your feet on the floor, and do what you need to do for you.
Journaling. That's one of the things.
Oh,
I have a couple. I have gone back and read them also, and just like chuckled the fuck out of like why I was upset. But yeah, sometimes in the last couple years when I've been just like, ugh, like, and the thoughts, just the same thought keeps coming and coming, and I like can't get it out. I write it down. I write down all of whatever that like thought is,
mm-hmm.
and then at some point I feel better, or I'm tired of writing, and I'm like, okay, this feels dumb that I'm upset about this, and then I read it,
Oh,
and I'm like,
oh,
LOL. Or I mean, for the whatever. But most of the time, it's like something ridiculous that I'm like,
you're like, oh, that's what made me mad.
what?
Cool,
Yeah.
cool. But it's out now. Like, okay, we moving through it. We're using it. Like, we are being present and validating our feelings in that moment of like, okay, this is what's coming up for me. This is where I am. I am where I am because that's where I am. And how do I move through it? What do I do? Like, those are just some of the things that we do, y'all. I would love to. Oh, absolutely, I agree, Matthew Perkins. You can't keep anger bottled up. You got to vent it to yes, even if they're not the one who made you angry.
I feel like more specifically if they're not the one who made you angry. I don't know,
Yeah.
venting or like. Yeah,
Mm.
it's hard to go back to. I feel like the person who like made me angry in specifically in that moment, but even a little bit after, like I need a little bit more time to justify or like to be like, is this worth it to me?
Oh, interesting.
But yeah,
usually it makes for me in some experiences. I mean, it's been good about like it depends on the person, like and how they're gonna receive that. Sometimes if an individual isn't like grounded in themselves or emotionally intelligent enough to take what you are giving them and let them know like hey this is what happened, this is how you made me feel, like, and if they're just coming back at you with more aggression, more like then it's not worth it. And so in terms of like the one who made you angry, no, I recently had an experience where I did express that to the person that made me feel uncomfortable, angry because one thing was said and another thing was done, and I was like, "Yo, I'm having a hard time processing this," and like we talked through it. It's like I felt good about the conversation that was had, but it's something that I don't think I can come back from. Like, and it's still like I I'm in a point in my life where I'm like, no, pimping. Like I tried. It doesn't make me feel good. Like that shouldn't have happened. Even if that wasn't your intention. Like I don't think that's not. I don't think it's gonna go anywhere from there. But anywho,
PJ said trying to communicate with emotionally intelligent people is a whole situation. It's hard to reason, especially if they gaslight you.
yes,
with people who don't have emotional intelligence.
Oh my God, yes.
Yes.
That was one of the biggest things with my ex, my latest relationship, where I was just like, I can't reason with you. You are unreasonable. And you constantly, like, your feelings are valid, yes, but you're constantly, like, you're feeling attacked when we're just trying to have a conversation. And then it leans, or bless you.
The allergies, not corona.
Then it leads to just more abuse. Anyway, I 10 that PJ, yes, that part. Okay, I think we've fully pushed that button in terms of accepting anger and like shades of victimization. And y'all, all of this was stemmed from Peaky Blinders. I still have 2 more episodes to watch. I'm a little scared. Also because I don't want it to end. It's so good. It's so good. Like it's so good it makes my heart hurt. And that's a part of where it started.
Yeah.
I was like the writing, I could go on.
Yeah, the writing
it's spot on. It's powerful. And I forget, like I know y'all I said I was tired of white people shit, but I fucking forgot. Like I watch and I think that is, I mean, yes, they're in London, they're back and forth between like in America, but like in terms of the way that even some of the writing for these female characters is so strong. They are so intelligent and
Yeah.
powerful. I'm like, all right, I fuck with you. Like, there are a few more people of color in the show, which I'm like, okay, thank
I mean,
you.
yeah, I think gradually I'm seeing
Just a little bit.
one
Y'all-
more each season.
and I mean, and
It's
Charlie
so-
Murphy. I always forget that Charlie Murphy's in the show, and I'm like, Charlie Murphy, bitch. Anyway, and it makes me so happy. He doesn't say much, but it's fucking Charlie Murphy. So, but yes. Okay, yes, we've come full circle on the anger button. Now, I believe we are going to kind of where are my words? We're gonna round it up and we're gonna push replay and revisit some wait, are we? Do we have a comment?
We
I
don't
think
have a new comment to push replay on this week.
So
So we won't be putting.
she let me go through this whole thing, y'all. I was like, wait, I think we talked about this before and I fucked up. We had a ghosting comment that I think came from Mr. Perkins. We can't find it. I'm really sorry. It's in there somewhere.
Stay tuned for next week.
Right? Like, so we out here. We're doing the best that we can as we switch things up and figure it out because that's where we are. This is where we are. We're growing. We're pivoting. Feeling all of our feels.
Watching TV and getting fucking triggered.
Yo, that part. And getting inspired and making, a show made us feel our feelings, like our own actual feelings. And that's influential consumption. Is that
That
what
is
you
influential consumption. I
like,
would agree.
in the
Influential
best
consumption.
way. But yeah. All right, y'all. We're your buttons, babes, and that was another live episode. Don't forget to, I mean, y'all in here, you'll have liked, you have comment, you are
Follow,
subscribed.
subscribe, share, all of
Share,
those things.
part.
If anything triggers you that you're watching this week, let us know. We'd love to hear it. We always appreciate DMs and comments and have some great notes from all of you. So keep it up. Thanks.
I thought you said great nuts from all of you.
Notes. 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 Messages. Text.
Don't mind my childish ass. All right, y'all. We gotta go. Because I'm doing the most over here. We appreciate you, and we will see you next time. Bye. And end.